forces generated in the muscle, and then we have the electrical stimulation system. And so I'll cover both of those, but when you're using them, you use them together. It's just easier to think about the pieces of equipment as two separate parts to start off with. First of all, we're talking about the recording system here. You've all seen the chair, haven't you? Your group have seen the chair as well before.
I haven't taken them deliberately.
I don't know if, did we use it in the first year? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
because I was on the chair before, I remember it. Yeah.
Okay. So you're both going to be looking at the quadriceps muscle, yeah? And you're both interested in strength, maximum voluntary contraction, and fatigue. And we're using the electrically listed fatigue test. And your group are going to do a voluntary fatigue test that has yet to be decided.
Yeah.
Okay? But the principles are going to be the same. The chair is adjustable. The back moves forward and backwards. You can adjust the angle of the backrest, but you shouldn't need to do that. The seat height can move up and down using these there's sort of screws here on the bottom, and the idea is that it should be level. But on the whole, we tend not to adjust the seat height here in the front very much. We don't tend to adjust the back angle, it just tends to be the length that we adjust and the position of this lever arm here that we adjust. Now, I think we need to review back contraction. Now, the catch here is a bottom catch. So you've got to pull it up, hold it up, yeah, and it slides back. Okay? Right, and if you just shuffle yourself back, round, how does that feel? You still want to have a bit of a gap here behind, just to ensure that it's not going to pinch as they're contracting. Right, if we're going to record maximum contractions, you need fixation and stabilisation. So if you put yourself in and tighten up. Now that needs to be really firm to keep you in place. If you want to go to trouble of using shoulder harness, you can do, but on the whole you tend not to use it. So they're there as an option if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay? The key thing with this is this is a torque transducer. Does anybody know the difference between force and torque? Any suggestions? What do you think of when you think of force?
The power you put into.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and torque? Not time, but you're going along the right lines. Yeah. If I said to you force is linear, you think about something when you're showing force, you think about an arrow going along, force being applied. What do you think about when you think of torque? Turning, okay, rotation. And that's the key difference. Force is linear, torque is turning force. And if you're looking at the turning force around here, if we have a cuff here that needs to be positioned comfortably. Okay, so we want it just above the malleoli there. Right, if you straighten your leg, you're creating a force, a linear force going this direction, but where's the turning moment? At the knee, so around the axis of the knee joint. So, and the relationship between that torque is force times the distance of the length of the lever here. So torque is equal to force times distance. So what's important here, you'll see there's a little pinhole here in the lever arm. That is representing the axis of movement. And so we want to get that. Now we're not going to do a terribly great job with you, because essentially we're looking for the axis of rotation. Here, this is why this chair, we've got one of the chairs with a better position than the other. We want to get it as well aligned as we can with the axis of rotation here. And this is, I think, So one of the limitations of this chair is how high the seat height can go. So you just need to go for the best alignment that you can, but it's not going to be perfect on this chair. Okay? Right. What we've got in here are strain gauges. They require an electrical current and then to go inputted. When metal is deformed, it changes the resistance to electrical currents. And so you're measuring the change in the resistance in the strain gauges. And that's what we're getting a representation of the force of the torque being generated. So we have this sort of module here. It's called a recorder amplifier. So this is the NL107. What this does, it passes a small electrical current to the strain gauges and then measures the electrical current that's passed back out again. Okay, so we're still talking in analog signals here. So this is quite an easy connector. It can only go in one way. It's got a little block inside there. Now the most vulnerable part of the system is this lead. This is a thing that breaks most often, and we don't have a huge supply of these.
Why did it break?
Because people don't handle it with care. Okay, so you can see this has got a 5-pin configuration. It fits in here. Now you shouldn't have to take this out or move it. And this plugs in here. Again, you can see the little block there. It can only go in one direction. We have the signal here. We said it's a small electrical signal going in, and it's a small electrical signal coming out. So one of the functions of this device is to amplify the signal. At present time, this is set up to double the signal, so it's multiplied by 2 that comes out. And then this is fed in, so we take the analog signal, it's fed into this black box underneath, which is an analog to digital converter. So it converts the analog signal, the electrical signal, into a digital signal, and then that feeds in via, where's the USB? No, via this cable in the back into the computer. Okay, so that's the recording system. Happy about that? Mm-hmm. Any questions? I'll talk a little bit more about this dial when we switch everything on. Okay? Now, second part of the system is the electrical stimulation. Now, what can you control about electrical stimulation? If you think about using it? Okay, you've got frequency to play with. What else can you play with? Intensity, yeah. Okay, continuous and intermittent. Anything else you can play with?
The time that you put the amplitude on for.
Okay, so that could be this continuous, intermittent, yes. So that's the cycle time. Any one more? Think of it. The size of the individual pulse. Okay, so pulse. And one of the things, you need to have these clear in your mind, because when you're reading a different literature, the terminology does get a little bit confused. So that's essentially what we've got, this bank of 3 modules. Ignore this one here. But these 3 here are all controlling the parameters for the electrical stimulation. Now the first one here is called the period generator. This is the NL01. This is our trigger. It just starts the electrical stimulation. Now, you're all going to be doing the Burke protocol. Many of you know what the parameters are for that? I'm sure it went into your ethics?
Probably.
Okay, so you're stimulating the muscle every second for 250 milliseconds at 40 hertz for 3 minutes. Okay, so we want to trigger it every second. So we have these 2 dials run together. Again, they shouldn't change. So they should be set up like this, but it is worth having a quick check before you start to make sure the parameters are set as you want them to set. So we have it, you can see this one here is set on 1 second, and it's multiplied by what's below it, multiplied by 1. Okay? If we wanted it every 2 seconds, the dial multiplied by 2 means every 2 seconds. But what we're interested in is every 1 second.